Evening. We're about to hatch. We're about to do a hatching lesson, and this is how to hatch the spoon. This is kind of review, but then we're going to look at the variations of lines that when you're doing hatching and when you're drawing, you can draw with thin lines, you can draw with thick lines. Hatching is the use of parallel lines to create value. So we're looking at the spoon itself. When we look inside here, we're going to use our lines that go close together to create dark values. And we're going to use the lines that are very close together to create the shadow. So we're trying to create light and dark value on the form. So let's go into the dark areas first. So when we're hatching, we are going to use our lines running parallel, but also running along with the form itself. So we're going to be hatching using a pen, and we're going to do it so that our lines are running side by side. And of course, as we get into the other areas, we're going to space out our lines. So let's get our lines close together in the dark areas, but as it come in the light areas, as in everything else, we are going to space out our lines. So I'm just going to get down in here a little darker, and I'm going to keep it going in the same direction. And as it come more into the lighted area, there is a light spot that runs right up in here. We're going to lighten it, but now when you look at this area, it gets dark up in here. So right up in this area, you are going to have to do another cluster of lines. And remember, we could use thin lines, we could use thin lines, we could use thicker lines. Right up in that area at the top, it gets a little dark again. So let's do some variations. Let's do some light tones, and then let's do some mid-tones to come out of that area. So notice I have my pen working, but I keep doing my pen in the direction in which the object is going. So we're going to go around that curve, and then we're going to get our lines working in the areas that we want to. Shadow, similar. So I'm just going to go in, get my mid-tone so it flows, and then get it spaced out a little more. If I want to make it a little deeper, I can go in with my pen, and the areas that I want to get deeper, I'm going to get my lines a little closer. As working the shadow, coming from under the form, same thing. I could start with a thick line coming under the form, and I need my lines a little closer together to take the spoon from the surface. And as always, we say that when we get to the edge of a shadow, we can get that area thick. We could use a thick line. I'm just going to come in and quickly put in my thick line so you can get to see the difference from one area to the next. I'm just going to go in there, and then I'm going to keep my hatching lines working. Just trying to get my line thick up under there so you can see the shadow working underneath the form. And then I'm going to continue over here. As a shadow, there's a light part of the spoon, and then I'm going to keep working the form. And you're going to continue that until your picture starts to look exactly like how the spoon looked. So here we are. This is what was started on Friday in our Zoom lesson, and I just wanted to show you that when you're drawing, make sure you remember to show the variations of light and shadow. Put the shadow under the form to raise it up from off of the table, and always include a baseline. If you can see where the object is resting onto the surface, make sure you always include a baseline. And I would go ahead and continue this and make sure it's totally finished.